It's June 5th, 2015, and this is a video about my peas that I'm growing in my garden and the trellises I've used to support them, what types, and some of the problems that I've had. So the first thing we'll talk about are the trellises, and I've done basic just triangle trellises. I used bamboo shoots that I chopped down from a bamboo patch down the road, and this first one is about 10 feet long, and they're each about 6 feet high. And what I've done is tie one string along the bottom horizontally, and then I've woven one string at a time vertically. If you try to do a whole loop in one long string, it's hard to keep it tight, so doing individual knots takes a little longer, but the lines stay tighter. My advice about what kind of twine to use is not to use things that will rot. I had used regular old hay string at first, and we had a big rain at the beginning of the season when I planted, and the hay string ended up disintegrating. That's also kind of what happened to my peas that I planted to begin with. This section of the garden didn't have that great of drainage, so they kind of drowned. I was able to save little bits of them. You can see these taller peas are the ones that I had planted first. I ended up digging most of them up and replanting them later on, and so that's where they are right now. I did sugar snap peas and wando peas, and I don't expect a huge harvest for peas this year, but it was a great learning experience on building the trellises and placement of this in the garden. So where I've dug up the peas the second time, like this section right here, and actually this whole row, along this outer edge, I've planted climbing nasturtium, and along this longer section right here I planted some more vining cucumbers because it was just a little too late to try any more peas. In the middle of the rows, between down the middle of the trellises, in this one I planted marigolds, and in the other one over that we were just at, I've planted the bushier nasturtium, not the climbing type. You'll see up at the top I've hung Christmas ornaments, and I've put some mirrors, anything like that. One, it's kind of cool when the light hits it for me, for nice little decoration, but I think it helps keep the squirrels and the birds from getting my plants and my seeds when I put them down. This section right here in the back behind the shorter pea trellis, I've put eggplant, and over on that side I have some okra. And from everything I've read, they work pretty well with peas, since peas fix nitrogen to the air, and eggplant and okra need a lot of that. What you see right here, I have a couple pieces of newspaper and some hay down. This dirt is really hard ground, and since it did flood, and when it dried out it really packed down, and so I was having a hard time getting all the weeds. So what I do is I'll just lay some newspaper down and some hay, and then come back and it's much easier just kind of, and you can just kind of scrape the weeds off, and it makes the dirt easier to work with once you pull the weeds. And so that's how I am growing my peas this year, or what's left of them at least. And remember, use twine that doesn't rot. It's a pain in the butt. This is my 4th time re-twining this. So, signing off.